welcome back to Inside Boxing's Throwdown. This is the third segment of this week. In the final segment, I'm Aurelio Martinez, Stephen Johnson. I'll tell you, this third segment, of course, we always talk about, it's open discussion. So we talk about current events, what's happening, give our opinions, whatever we want. And Steve, we want to talk about a fight that we broke out a few weeks back between Manny Pacquiao and Mile High Mike Alvarado.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of folks out there, including boxing fans and all that, are not taking this fight seriously. As a matter of fact, if you go to social media, you'll see the comments on Facebook that saying it's a joke and why is Pacquiao doing this and blah blah blah. But well, you got to start thinking this is the way the public feels, and actually, it's kind of the way Bob Arum is thinking in Top Rank. And I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything from Pacquiao's on the particulars of this fight, but as far as Bob Arum and Top Rank, they're looking beyond this fight. They're talking about Lomachenko in November to try to put that fight together. So they're not even considering this.
Mike is an afterthought.
Yeah, this to them is just what they put it together to be is a tune-up fight.
Mm-hmm.
Little do they know, Mike's ready. Mike's ready, and I can tell you that because we train there in the same gym, and I get to see firsthand, and I've been seeing on firsthand, Mike's training regiments, the styles, and his dedication, or rededication, or maybe dedication. Maybe he never even had dedication, but he has it now, and how he's been training for the past year. And how his life has turned around. So I'm thinking we're going to see the best of Mike now versus what we saw when he was fighting the Brandon Rioses in the
Ruslan Provodnikov.
Exactly. So let's talk about that fight.
Well, first of all, I'm not backing off of my thing that I said 2 weeks ago. I think Mike Alvarado wins this fight, and my opinion is based on this. Is like you said. Personally seeing what Mike is doing, personally talk to Mike, look Mike in the eye, okay?
Yeah.
He's definitely focused. He's looking forward to this fight. I don't know what Manny Pacquiao's been doing, other than, like I said before, you laugh, he wants to be prince or king or senator or whatever of the Philippines. And we know that's what his goal is, and that's what he's focused on. This boxing thing is money in his pocket. That's all he's thinking about is money. Mike, of course, there's money in the pocket, but Mike's looking at this catapulting him, to be honest,
to get the big payday.
The biggest payday. But to be honest with Mike, all he has to do is really look good against Pacquiao. And that still keeps him in the mix for bigger paydays. But when he knocks him off, which I'm expecting to do, I'm taking Mike by unanimous decision because Mike takes him into his later rounds. I don't know what kind of training Pacquiao's been doing, but it's not like it was 10 years ago. And nobody's like it was 10 years ago. But Mike, he's on a 4-fight win streak.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been beat up in any at all. Manny Pacquiao's last fight, he got dismantled and beat up by a guy that was almost twice his size. I don't know how he recovers from this, But I'm not backing off. I'm taking Mike Alvarado.
Well, good. I'm with Mike myself. Okay, I'm not going to tell you I'm not because I know Mike personally. We trained together in the same spot with my fighters and his fighter and his team. He brought in trainer Humberto Aguilera, and of course Toti's comes back from them training them Olympic Cubans
when they were in their heyday.
In their heyday back, so he's actually doing a lot of things right. So I'm all with Mike, and if all things go well, I'll be there at the fight, covering it, and supporting Mike. And in saying that, Manny Pacquiao's side, I'm not convinced that he's done. And I don't want to sound like a broken record because every time we talk about that subject here on Throwdown, I hammer it. His whole decline in boxing is that he's been fighting too big. He's been fighting for the money. He's been fighting. Jeff Horn was probably double his size, weight and size. Yeah. He can't even think about fighting the likes of like Crawfords and all that. he's too little, and people are interpreting this as he's past his prime, he should retire, because you see it on social media, and that he's done. He's done in boxing. I'm not convinced that Pacquiao's done. And this, to me, is I'm going to be watching it very close, because this fight will tell me whether he's done. Now, you all may be right. He may be done and all that, but I'm not convinced. This fight will tell me, because he's coming back down to fighting, at 140, okay, which he should be at 35, but coming down in weight and stop fighting them guys making the fights at 147. He weighs in at 145, 144, something like that. He can't even get to 147 even after he rehydrates. So his opponent comes into the ring at 156, 160. It's just, you got to give a guy credit to be in the ring with them and then be competitive and beat some of them guys, okay? So my whole saying is, I'm not convinced he's done, and this will tell me, Steve, this will tell me whether he's done, because he goes in there and doesn't perform against Mike, because don't forget, we're looking at a rejuvenated Mike. We're looking at a Mike that's coming in prepared. And if he doesn't look good on it, then maybe everyone's right. Maybe he needs to retire and go into politics full time back in the Philippines. But I don't think he's done.
Okay, the next fight we have that we want to talk about is upcoming. The long anticipated again rematch between Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, and Saul Canelo Alvarez, which will be May the 5th in Las Vegas.
Yep.
For that undisputed, if you want to call it, undisputed world middleweight titles. I don't know.
Well, they got to settle the score.
Well, let me just say this. I don't think you're going to get a score settled, because as the first fight, Canelo said, I'm going to stop Triple G. I'm going to knock him out. Okay? Canelo ain't going to knock Triple G out. He's not going to knock him out. His only hope, I do think that he's got the formula to beat Triple G. He's so much quicker than him and so much faster, he give him a boxing lesson. Okay? He can give him a boxing lesson, but he can't stop and fight him, and he's definitely not going to knock him out. Then let's be honest about this. The only way Triple G outright wins this fight, he's got to stop, Canelo, because they're not going to give it to him. There's no way. They've already shown us they're not going to give it to him. He was the reigning champion. He's still the reigning champion now, but the fight was declared a draw. When most of us, you drink that Kool-Aid.
But we knew it wasn't a draw.
Well, Canelo says, I'm going to knock him out.
Yeah.
Well, knock him out.
But it wasn't a draw anyway.
It wasn't a draw anyway. But I'm saying, when you tell me you're going to knock a guy out, if you don't knock a guy out, you got problems. You got to be dominant in some other form or fashion.
Exactly.
And his only thing is to try to outbox him, which I think he can do. And if he does that, they're going to give him the title.
And I think you hit on something there real quickly, because I'm going to tell you right now, just like we talked after that fight, to me again, I'm not a judge, but Canelo didn't win that fight, nor was it a draw. They actually the judges took it away from Triple G, which is probably the plan from the very beginning. But anyhow, Triple G clearly won that fight. In my opinion, I know there's a lot of Canelo fans out there, but like I said before, fans watch the fight according to who they want to win.
There you go.
Okay, but basically he didn't win that fight. Now, in saying that, for the first fight, because I did that, I'm not so sure Triple G is going to win this fight. So you hit on something real quick there, and I want to elaborate on that. You said Canelo has to box him out there and not worry about the knockout and go in there and outbox him and win the fight. I think you hit it on the nose, and I think they know it. That whole Golden Boy Promotions and Canelo's team and his management and everything, I think they acknowledge that. They acknowledge that you can't go in there trying to knock this guy out. Just go in there and be dominant, school him. Okay, and he can do that. He can do that if he stays to his plan. And the reason I'm saying, I'm alluding to this is going to happen, and we'll extend it a little bit, alluding that this is going to happen, is because Canelo's going to be training for this fight in the Mile High City, in our hometown of Colorado.
Yeah, he's coming to Colorado, supposedly.
And he's going to be training here, and obviously it makes sense. You know, they're trying to keep the location a secret because they don't want people to know, but it's not a secret. Oscar De La Hoya has very good ties with the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and they can seclude that area. They can keep the public out. So you can almost bet your bottom dollar that's where he's going to be training at, is the Olympic Center in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Because there's a tie. You know, of course, Oscar, that was his second home when he was an amateur.
That's right.
So anyhow, that tells me that he knows he has to be in condition to go in there and outbox him and box for the 12 rounds. Okay?
Well, and like you said, and there's no secret. No secret. I'm not saying anything, you know, about to be an anti-Canelo fan or anything. No secret that we know he gasses out.
He's always
gasses out. Always has. So
he always has.
Come here, get some of that high altitude training with Coach Charles Leverett from the Army boxing team.
Yeah.
You know, I expect that's where he will be, along with the Olympic Training Center. You know,
well, you know, he's bringing his trainers, even his sparring partners are not going to be locals here.
No, they're bringing some guys from Mexico. They let that know.
Mexico and Europe.
Yes, they're bringing in some guys
from Mexico and Europe. They're coming in. So sorry guys, all you boxers here in Colorado that think that you're going to be able to go out there and get some sparring, man, it's not going to happen because you're not on that level that he needs to be. They're bringing top quality sparring partners to come in and work with him in this high altitude. So
there will be a couple of the people that will actually have access to that Olympic Training Center and be able to. We'll give you some inside analogy of how he's looking for this fight. But like you said, there's no secret amongst any of the boxing fans. He can't gas out. So it's a perfect idea to come train here, that Olympic Training Center. You know, with their high performance stuff that they got going on. We'll see if it helps.
So before we leave. Early prediction?
I'm on record, man. I'm on record. I said I think Canelo wins because he can't stand and fight Triple G, so he'll just outbox him.
Okay, and I'm actually going to flip flop from the first fight. First fight, I was on record that Triple G was going to win the fight, and I'm going to switch that on this fight. I think Canelo will win the fight. I think Canelo will win the fight decision. I'm with you. He's not going to knock him out. And I also agree with you that the only chance that the Triple G has to win is to knock him out. And let's face it, over the past couple of years, Triple G has slowed down.
And we'll have to see if Triple G's corner can adapt.
Exactly.
We'll get to see, you know, if Abel Sanchez is able to, first of all, I think that, once again, these are things no secret to everybody that watches. He's got to be able to cut the ring off, Lil.
Exactly.
He never showed that. If he can show that he can cut the ring off and make Canelo fight, then he's got a chance. But these are things that it's all going to develop. And I hope I'm wrong.
So all in all, I think whoever wins, win, lose, or draw on either side, I think we're in for a better fight than the first one.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I would agree on that. All right.
That kind of concludes this week's Throwdown.
Mm-hmm. I think I threw down. I don't know about you.
We did throw down because you know what? It's showtime, baby. And that's a little dig at showtime because they obviously been watching us and they're following our lead. So, but anyway,
dig it, man. Dig at it. That's right.
Let's go until next week, fellas. Where we'll bring it back to you again. We'll talk real boxing, not what ifs, and not maybes. And not what if Sugar Ray Robinson fought Muhammad Ali, who would win. We're not going to bring you any of that stuff.
We're often imitated, but never duplicated. Don't ever forget that.
Until next week, baby. Keep it